Scott County high school boy there, Scott County here in Kentucky, is in the Scott County schools as well, is under fire from the NAACP after a boy covered himself in black paint, head to toe. Here's a picture of it, though. Those of you who can see, those of you who can't see, it's just a high school boy covered in black paint from head to toe. He's wearing black shorts as well. And then, he's shirtless wearing black paint. Now, as I'm saying this to you, you'll say, wow, was he in blackface? Was he doing this to somehow attack black people? Did he just randomly throw black paint on himself and decide to run around through the halls as some sort of evil racist thing? And that's why the NAACP is calling it racist? Well, no, actually, in this case, the boy in question was at a football game. You can see he's on a football field there. And the Spirit Night theme was blackout. So you have a school where they're having a blackout theme for their Spirit Day, and you have a boy here painting his body, not randomly, but as to fit the theme of Scott County schools, which of course was blackout for that day. An obvious and clearly non-racist thing. And, like I said, it wasn't random. He wasn't attempting to do this to make fun of black people or anything like that. He wasn't acting like a black person while in blackface. He was literally painted just the color black for blackout. And, schools do this all the time. They do whiteout nights, they do blue outs, they do gold outs. The list goes on. And it's all done in order to show their school spirit. It gives kids a sense of pride and community within their own schools, to give them pride with their schools when they win. That way, they just might behave a bit better, take better care of the place, take more pride in getting to go to school. They're calling themselves a student, and so they act in a better way. However, according to the NAACP, this is now obviously, unequivocally, clearly, most apparently, and just in your face racism. Now, I do want to take this moment to preemptively apologize before the NAACP does some digging on me. Here's a photo of myself. I made the unfortunate decision to paint my face blue and gold. I was supporting my then girlfriend and now wife at a cross-country meet for her college, and I painted my face blue and gold. And I just want to, as I said, take a second here to apologize to all the humans that are blue and gold. My actions were insensitive. I was just trying to encourage my wife to run faster and win. I didn't realize at the time just how my actions could be so destructive to the blue and gold identifying people as I was trying to cheer on my wife and her team. It's unfortunate. I will do better next time. Now that is out of the way, this is obviously and completely ridiculous. Last night, I was actually talking to someone about a video I did earlier this week. It seems a theme of this week is all these places and people finding racism where it doesn't exist, whether it was the city council seating chart, a police officer lip syncing to a country music song, and the list goes on and on. I did not do this on purpose, obviously. It just so happened to show up this way. And while I was talking to that person, I talked about what really bothered me most about the Hopkinsville story. And that was that a bunch of conservative people in conservative towns didn't stand up to a woke mob. Now, every city council person on Hopkinsville City Council is not a rhino or not a real Republican. I actually know a lot of them, and there's a good few of them who are good people. But there are some people on there that just aren't very conservative. And so it drives me crazy when we acquiesce to this woke mob that wants to call things racist that clearly aren't. My true frustration here is that these people, especially in conservative communities, aren't even willing to stand up to these out-of-control leftists, and instead they acquiesce and they grovel. So how did Scott County respond to the NAACP racist grift? Did they tell them to kick sand like they should have? No. Instead, they responded by being spineless and not standing up for their students. This is what they had to say when they released a statement. In the statement, they call out the students' behaviors insensitive to the African-American community. They said Scott County Schools does not promote or support discriminatory behavior of any type for any reason. What Scott County Schools does is educate our community. We cannot make Scott County the best place in the world to live and learn for everyone unless we're willing to acknowledge when we can do better. This is one of those moments, and we will rise to the occasion. Now, here's my question. Who's going to stand up for these kids? You've got a high school kid dressing up for Blackout Student Spirit Day, and now he's being called racist. I pulled this news, obviously, from a news website. You have this boy who just simply dressed up for Spirit Day. The idea of racism never even crossed his mind, because why would it? It's Blackout Day. They sell black skin suits. Like they sell, green suits and blue suits, those like, head to toe coverings. They sell black one of those. He didn't think anything of it. But now here he is, this poor kid being called out, and his school isn't protecting him. No, his school is actually going along with this and calling him a racist. Imagine you were in high school, you're dressing up for Spirit Day, and now your high school is telling the media that you're a racist. When we're going to say enough, there is real racism in this world. Just like there's that piece of trash Nazi down in Florida. But the problem is when you attack simple things like a kid dressing up for Spirit Day as racist when it quite clearly isn't, it makes real racist incidences not receive the treatment it needs. You just push an entire population of high school students to now assume if someone is calling something racist, they're making it up or lying, because they're not blind. And while they are high school students, they occasionally have some common sense, and they know that there was nothing that kid was doing that was wrong. Maybe they're not willing to publicly say it, but deep down in their brains, they know. And then they've seen how it's treated. And you've made them more numb to the word racism because they saw what happened and it was no way racist. And now what are they to think? Other than the fact that their school and the adults in their community will not have their back and will not protect them. And the adults at their schools, especially in their school leadership, are more than willing to throw those children under the bus just so they don't have to sacrifice a few days or weeks of a woke mob being mad at them. Because we all know if they ignored it, simply stated this isn't racist, yes, maybe they would have had some outside agitators or some protests or what have you. But if they just stood by and said, guys, this is ridiculous, we know this isn't racist, let's just move on. Yeah, that would have been uncomfortable for a few weeks, but the world would have moved on, and those children in that school and this kid would have known that people will stand up for him when it's right. And there's no way you can convince me that the right thing to do here is to chastise kids for coloring themselves in black paint for School Spirit Day called Blackout Day. So what does the NAACP want to happen to the boy? Well, Whitaker, who apparently is, I think, the Lexington president of NAACP, he's a spokesperson for the NAACP in this case, says that he does think the boy should be written up, he should have to do some type of service and cultural and sensitivity training. Well, you know who needs training is Whitaker. He needs to learn the difference between what racism is and what racism isn't, so he can put his time, money, and efforts, and those are the people he's representing, towards actual racism that's going on and fighting it, instead of attacking a high school boy so he can feel relevant and important.